You are planning a family trip, 4 tickets, one hotel, a rental car. Maybe the first real vacation your family has taken in years. You find the flight for 1,249 per passenger. Before you can finish the booking, something interrupts you. A call, a meeting, a child asking for help. You close the computer. The next morning, you return. Same dates, same destination, same passengers. The fare is now 1,499. That is an extra 250 per ticket. For a family of four, the interruption appears to have cost you 1,000. Your first thought is probably not about revenue management, aircraft utilization, or network economics. It is this: they knew I came back. Maybe the system saw your earlier search. Maybe it recognized that the departure date was getting closer. Maybe it estimated that you were running out of alternatives. Or maybe none of those things caused the increase. Because when you compare the available flights, you notice something even stranger. Three airlines, three different routes, three different cost structures. Exactly the same price or different. Why is the fare identical? And if you pay the same amount to all three, does each airline earn the same profit? Not even close. Counterstrategy. Every strategy creates a counterstrategy. The airlines and figures in this episode are fictional and illustrative. The point is not to accuse a particular company or prove that a cookie changed the fare. The point is to examine the contradiction you can see from the outside without pretending you know the exact mechanism operating inside. Start with the product. An airline seat expires. A shirt can be sold next week. A machine can stay in inventory. A bottle may even become more valuable with time. An empty airline seat becomes worthless the moment the aircraft leaves the gate. It cannot be stored. It cannot be sold tomorrow. It cannot be returned to the warehouse. That creates a powerful strategic problem. The airline wants to sell the seat before departure, but it does not want to sell the seat too cheaply if a more urgent customer may appear later. You and another passenger can occupy identical seats on the same flight. You may have booked 6 months in advance for a vacation. The other passenger may be traveling tomorrow because a contract must be signed. The aircraft consumes almost the same fuel. The physical seat is almost the same. The cost of carrying each passenger is not dramatically different, but the willingness to pay may be. That is why an airline does not simply take the average cost of a seat and add a fixed markup. It divides inventory into fare classes. It releases some seats at lower prices. It protects others for later demand. It watches booking patterns, remaining capacity, departure time, route conditions, competitors, and the probability that someone else may pay more. That is the strategy. Use information to allocate a perishable product across customers with different urgency, flexibility, and willingness to pay. Done well, this can improve revenue without adding another aircraft, another crew, or another departure. Now move to the other side of the screen. Imagine you are responsible for pricing at one of the airlines. You are not choosing between a good decision and a bad decision. You are choosing between several reasonable objectives that can conflict. You can lower the fare and protect demand. You can match the market and protect share. You can raise the fare and protect contribution. You can keep seats available for higher paying travelers. You can use a lower fare to feed a connecting network. You can accept a weak result on one segment because it supports a stronger result elsewhere. Every choice solves one problem. Every choice creates another. Now imagine three fictional airlines. Aster Air operates newer aircraft, dense seating, a relatively simple network, and lower financing costs. Meridian Sky operates through hubs. It depends on feeder flights, connections, and a complex network in which one passenger may support several routes. Northline offers more space, more service, and higher staffing levels. Its product is more expensive to deliver. All three show you the same fare, 5,499. For illustration, assume the expected economic cost allocated to your itinerary is 820.20 for AS 1,220 for Meridian and 1,020.70 for Northline. These are not company data. They simply expose the trade-off. At the same fare, Aster has 679 between revenue and allocated cost. Meridian has 479. Northline has 222.9. Same customer, same displayed price, different economic room for error. Now add a disruption. Fuel rises, a connection fails, a baggage claim appears, a crew problem requires rebooking, customer support becomes necessary. Aster has more room, Meridian has less. Northline may discover that the market price sits dangerously close to its limit. This does not automatically mean Northline should charge more. You are still the customer. You still see three rows on a comparison screen. You see price, departure time, duration, and number of stops. You may not see the higher staffing, stronger recovery process, more comfortable cabin, or broader service promise before purchase. The airline may be differentiated internally. The interface makes it look interchangeable externally. That is the first contradiction. The company invests billions to become different. The marketplace compresses those differences into a sortable list. Now imagine you're sitting inside Northline's pricing meeting. Revenue management says we match the market and improved load factor. Operations replies, at our cost structure, matching the market is not the same as earning an acceptable return. Finance says the aircraft was already scheduled to fly. The aircraft is always scheduled to fly. That does not make cost irrelevant. Revenue management says we are pricing the opportunity attached to the seat, not the average cost. Operations asks, and what opportunity did we preserve? A competitive position. That is not a number. Not every strategic asset appears as a line item. You can see the problem. All of them may be right. They are answering different questions. Revenue management asks whether the seat was sold at the best available price. Operations asks whether the service is economically sustainable. Finance asks whether the flight contributes enough toward fixed expenses. Strategy asks whether the route supports the network, protects a customer relationship, preserves a hub, or keeps the airline relevant in a market. A price can look rational under one question and irrational under another. Now consider the mathematics more carefully. The average cost allocated to your itinerary is not the same as the incremental cost of putting you into an empty seat on a flight that will depart anyway. If the aircraft is already going, the additional fuel, handling, catering cost for one passenger may be far below the full average cost per seat. That means an airline can rationally sell below average cost if the fare contributes something toward expenses that would exist anyway. But this logic has a dangerous cousin. Managers can begin using the aircraft is flying anyway to justify almost any low fare. Repeated often enough, the airline fills aircraft, celebrates utilization, and still fails to generate enough cash to renew the fleet, absorb shocks, maintain service, or reward capital. The metric looks healthy. The system weakens. Utilization is not profitability. Revenue is not contribution. Contribution on one segment is not necessarily network value. Network value is not automatically cash. This is why the objective given to the pricing system matters more than how sophisticated the system appears. A model designed to maximize fare revenue may behave differently from a model designed to maximize flight contribution. A model designed to maximize flight contribution may behave differently from one designed to maximize network profit. A model designed to maximize network profit may behave differently from one designed to maximize customer lifetime value. The algorithm can be extremely intelligent and still optimize the wrong objective. Now return to your search. Suppose the system does identify signals suggesting urgency. You searched repeatedly. The departure date is close. Your behavior resembles customers who tend to purchase even after an increase. Imagine the system raises the price by 100 and you still buy. The dashboard records a win. Revenue per passenger increased. Conversion remained positive. The system appears to have done exactly what it was designed to do. But what do you do next time? You search without logging in. You compare more aggressively. You delay commitment. You check another device. You treat the airline as interchangeable. You tell friends never to accept the first price. The system optimized the transaction. It may have weakened the relationship. That is where psychology enters. You do not judge the fare only as a number. You judge fairness. You compare the new fare with the earlier fare. The first price becomes an anchor. The move from 1,290 to 2,499 feels like a loss relative to that anchor. Loss aversion makes the extra 250 feel more painful than a 250 reduction would feel rewarding. Urgency adds pressure. Uncertainty adds suspicion. You may still purchase. The airline may still lose goodwill. A business can win the sale and weaken trust at the same time. Now imagine competing airlines using systems that observe similar signals, the same holidays, the same conventions, the same weather, the same remaining capacity, the same booking curves, the same competitors. Their models can be different. Their costs can be different. Their objectives can be different. Yet their displayed fares can converge because they are reacting to the same market and to one another. No one needs to instruct the companies to select the same number. Independent systems can still produce similar outcomes. That does not prove coordination. It reveals another counter-strategy. The more efficiently the market compares companies, the harder it may become for customers to see strategic differences. The airline invests in fleet, lounges, employees, technology, reliability, and service. You see price, time, stops, and duration. The strategy creates differentiation. The interface creates comparability. So, what should the airline optimize? The highest fare you will accept today, the profitability of your itinerary, the contribution of the route to the network, the probability that you choose the airline for your next 10 trips, the trust required to keep you loyal. These objectives can conflict. A lower fare may reduce current revenue but win a valuable traveler. A higher fare may improve economics but push demand toward a competitor. Matching the market may protect share but hide a cost disadvantage. Personalization may improve conversion while increasing concerns about fairness. There is no universal price that solves every problem. There is only a decision about which problem receives priority. That is the part managers often avoid. They buy better software before defining a better objective. They ask the model to optimize revenue because revenue is easy to measure. They do not define the strategic cost of distrust, customer switching, route weakness, or cost disadvantage. Then they treat the output as if the machine made the strategy. It did not. The machine executed the objective it was given. Before applying the framework, notice one more contradiction. The price you see is not always the product the company believes it is selling. You may think you are buying transportation from one city to another. The airline may believe it is selling network access, schedule flexibility, loyalty benefits, operational recovery, and the option to connect you to future flights. That difference matters because a customer compares visible features while the company allocates costs and strategic value across invisible systems. If you manage pricing, ask whether customers can actually see the value supporting the price. A higher cost operation cannot defend a higher price by pointing to benefits the customer cannot recognize before purchase. Sometimes the answer is better communication. Sometimes it is product redesign. Sometimes it is accepting that a comparison platform has reduced your differentiated service to a commodity. There is also a governance problem. Who is allowed to challenge the model? If revenue rises, the pricing team appears successful. If loyalty weakens 6 months later, another department receives the problem. If a route looks full but produces weak cash, finance receives the problem. If customers distrust price movement, brand receives the problem. Decision is centralized inside the algorithm. The consequences are distributed across the company. A mature pricing process gives those downstream functions a formal voice before the model is declared successful. That means reviewing price not only as an output, but as a strategic promise made to the customer and a financial commitment made by the company. You can apply this lesson to almost any business. First, define the economic objective before selecting the pricing tool. Do not say only maximize revenue. Decide whether you care most about contribution, cash, utilization, customer lifetime value, market entry, or a weighted combination. Second, establish a contribution floor. Know the minimum acceptable economics under normal conditions and under strategic exceptions. Third, separate transaction value from customer value. Measure what the customer paid today and what the pricing experience does to future behavior. Fourth, examine the tail, not only the average. A model can improve average revenue while creating a small number of extreme negative experiences that become screenshots, complaints, and long term reputational costs. Fifth, make strategic exceptions visible. If a route is subsidized to protect the network, identify that internally. If a fare is accepted to preserve a major account, name the purpose. Do not let strategic subsidies disappear inside automated pricing. Sixth, test the belief created by the price. Do customers believe the system is fair? Do they understand why options differ? Do they trust the first offer? Do they return directly? Or do they become professional comparison shoppers? Seventh, ask what would cause the strategy to fail. A strategy that cannot fail also cannot teach. Set limits on margin loss, trust erosion, customer complaints, and repeated price instability. Finally, ask the question the algorithm cannot answer by itself. What kind of relationship do you want the customer to believe they have with you? That answer affects price, transparency, loyalty, and brand. You may never discover why the fare increased from 1,000, 4,000, 4,099. A fare class may have disappeared, a seat may have been sold, demand may have changed, a competitor may have moved, a system may have recognized signals of urgency, several mechanisms may have operated at once. The important lesson is not that the fare was secretly right or secretly wrong. It is that the same 1,040.99 can represent three completely different strategic realities. For one airline, it may be excellent business. For another, it may protect the network. For a third, it may hide a cost problem behind a full aircraft. And for you, it may feel less like the price of a seat and more like a judgment about how badly you need it. Before you celebrate smarter pricing, write down the metric being optimized. Then write down the value the system may quietly damage. That second line is where the counter strategy begins. Tell us in the comments, should an airline optimize today's fare or the customer's next 10 flights? Subscribe to Counterstrategy for practical stories about pricing, finance, strategy, and the decisions that look rational until another side appears. Every business decision has another side.